do you think?
Brian, that's a lovely thing
So,
at the end.
text message.
Yeah.
You're gonna get that chance. That's gonna be, there's a special part of the report, and one of the things on the agenda is when, or on the schedules, when Bill's presented that design to the board. And it all requires permit.
Things down here, Township, just throw it on the list for zoning hearing, so I don't know. I might get on that.
Your officer tell you about our meeting at 2 AM, playground? Did you hear about that?
No,
Well, he-
which officer?
I'm not sure, it's dark. He was at the playground, chief. It was around 2:15, and he asked, "Can I help you?" "What are you doing here?" I said, "Well," he paused for a second and said, "I think I'm doing the same thing you are. We're doing a little patrolling around here."
Yeah. When I was out in Tignes, I was
One of my nights and days blur together, probably about a week ago, 10 days ago.
well, ever since the latest meeting, I've asked them to step up a little bit. So it's good to hear they're doing it.
Definitely was there. When I saw the lights, I was a little concerned. I just pulled in.
Right. He didn't recognize you at first, obviously.
No. I almost like it that way.
Yeah, there you go. That's the first one, copy and watch. Get a little tired of
We did it.
what's going on. Just give me an answer, you know, that's all.
That we want, that, and I knew they had
Is that right?
a job.
Solicitor Orlando, what have you done? You look different.
A reverse age.
He found the fountain of youth.
I have to apologize. I've forgotten your name.
Chris Carroll.
Okay. Chris is an associate, I think.
Yes.
Associate?
Yes.
In our law firm, Eugene Orlando, normally here. And I think this is your second or third time here. Did you,
Yes.
did you do a hearing? Or-
Yes, at least one of them meeting over here. He's in Calico Township, he has a zoning hearing, and he's actually third on the list, so he might get on at 9 o'clock tonight.
Christmas time.
Yeah.
Well, I noticed on the agenda, at least one of the agendas I've seen, there's nothing on your agenda.
Right.
They are, they're both.
Okay, the issue
They're both.
was on.
Yes, I thought the issues, I know we had it for,
Well, the one-
this is when we asked for that. So we have the
Oh, yeah, that's why they.
Yeah.
We double check that. They also want to go to Michael, Chris, that's.
It's a shame. Well, yeah, it's last minute. I mean, the whole thing's sent out for public comment. Or the public. You can, there's a caveat to it, I'll correct it.
Remember, I came up on my birthday, I forgot, I was here on my wife's birthday.
People say, how quickly can I get signatures?
Stay over anywhere.
No, I'm saying.
Listen, bear camp.
Said 59, so it's gotta be somewhere under 60. Sure.
We'll call the Robeson Township workshop meeting, December 14th to order at 7 o'clock. We'll do a pledge of allegiance and moment of silence for all military personnel. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For all. Thank you. Roll call, Mr. Steve.
Here.
Mr. Bittner.
Here.
Mr. Rhodes.
Here.
Here. Alright, so, do we have any citizens' concerns? If so, somebody, your name, address, please.
Keith Brubacher, representing Trend Drilling and Blasting and M3 Expo. Address is 825 Reading Road, Bowmansville, Pennsylvania, 77507. So we had, I'm here with my associates, Melvin Pullen, Adam DePaul of Trinity Drilling and Blasting, M3 Expo, as well as our attorney who's been working with us, Jamie Strong, from McNeese, Wallace, and Nerk. And we've been before the board, I think back in April, and then had been working with the Planning Commission on a request for permission to store explosives in the Ag District where it's sparsely populated. And we've been working with that on a zoning text amendment. Responded to several concerns and suggestions for amendments and had submitted that. And then it seemed as if it just, we kind of lost track of it, weren't sure where it went from there. And didn't notice it on any agendas. And so we kind of lost track of that and wanted to hopefully continue the conversation, address any further outstanding concerns. I did want to point out that the Ag Preserve Board of Berks County had approved that as well and was not an obstacle to that. And we're simply seeking a bit of direction and conversation about how we might move forward and reinitiate that conversation and process.
Yeah, off the top of my head, we did discuss it how many months ago.
Yes, we
at
discussed
least
it.
3 months ago or so.
We discussed it a number of months ago, and we had some concerns. We asked our solicitor, as I recall, to not take any further action until we looked at it further. One of the concerns I had was neither our engineering or our legal staff looked at what is called our comprehensive plan, our Southern Regional Comprehensive Plan. So I felt I was a little unprepared at the time, and since then, I have taken an opportunity to revisit that. And as such, I don't believe, part of my concern was, I don't believe that within the comprehensive plan area, there's adequate space for you to do what it is that you're planning to do. In that time, I've also gone by this is on the Truman Hertzler farm, is that correct?
That's correct, that's the
Okay,
proposed location.
I've had some opportunity to kind of do a drive-by on that and kind of re-examine the situation. I also was not aware that our ag board, which I pay some deference to, while I don't think any board member relinquishes their authority, if you will, their say over our own zoning, I do pay some deference with what they say, and I was not aware of that. So if my colleagues don't object, I'm going to ask our solicitor to reopen that discussion with you guys. We could do that as early as Tuesday. One of the major concerns that I had originally too had to do with the ordinance as proposed. I think had some discussion in it or some language in it to make it seem like it was, permitted by right, or something that I wasn't comfortable with. I believe you remedied that. So under those circumstances and after reevaluation, without making any decision tonight, I'd like to get our solicitor back in touch. One of the things that I heard around the community was, and we have a firefighter here sitting to my right on the board, that I know there's some flexibility many times to help them out with a little bit of training money, etc. And we're just in the preliminary discussions of that, but I'm sure the fire company would appreciate that. I also had a comment or two about some of the roads. It's been some of the roads getting abused by any kind of extra traffic, and I'm persuaded by the fact that having looked at what your discussion was a couple of months ago, we are being kind of recorded live on YouTube, so we are able to go back and look at the exact discussions, kind of reflect on what was said, and I've taken the time to do that, and I think, we should take another look at this situation rather than face other alternatives. Now, some of those alternatives I'll discuss in executive session. They're legal in nature. Nothing to do with you folks per se, but there are a couple of intertwined issues. So if that's,
Rich, I mean, if we can just, we can add that to the agenda on Tuesday, and we gotta pull up the last set of, we can all look at it, but the last minutes that we discussed this and what we had said at the time. And then, so if you guys wanna come back on Tuesday.
I'd certainly be happy to do so. We
And
have
we'll put you on the agenda.
a variety of exhibits and things, be happy to engage in conversation and address any outstanding concerns that may exist. Our goal is to be a good community member. Our other business is Brewbacher Excavating, been a community member for a long time, and our goal is to perpetuate that same level of cooperativeness.
Yeah, so you'll be on the agenda for Tuesday,
Great.
and we'll collect some of this other stuff since we haven't talked about you in a while.
Now, Gene will be here
Yes.
on Tuesday? Okay, and he's a little more familiar. I wasn't aware he was not going to make it, but we'll see if we can't discuss that further and come to some kind of conclusion.
Very good. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Any other citizens' concerns? All right, and if not, in my packet, there's correspondence for everybody to review. The first one is from County Clerk's Office of Commissioners. You want to review that. The next one will be from First Nature, request for donation. The next one, there's two things, and I will do that. All right, first, let's do Harold first. Harold first. Stand up, Harold. All right, so Harold, this is a certificate of service for Representative Harold W. Stee in recognition of 7 years of service as Township Supervisor for Robeson Township. We commend you for your selfless dedication to your community and local government, as well as your leadership, commitment, and passion for serving your fellow citizens. And that would be for you.
Thank you.
All right, well, thank you. And Galen, if you would please stand up. So this is certificate of service presented to Galen Brown, recognition of 24 years of service as a Township Supervisor for Robeson Township, Berks County. And we commend you for your selfless dedication to your community and local government, as well as your leadership, commitment, and passion for serving your fellow citizens. And that would be for you. Okay? All right, well, thank you both of you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right. Anybody want to say anything about that?
Hold on, I think he's asking.
Oh, okay.
My comment would be, generally speaking, you guys all know that we don't do this job for money. And in Mr. Brown's position, he's been here decades. And I don't think there's anybody that spends any more time at the township building or township sewer authorities and meetings than Mr. Steve. So while we all have differences, and will have differences, until you sit in this seat and come out on Christmas nights when we all have other things to do, it's tough. And sometimes in the heat of the moment, we all can take a different position and maybe not be as articulate as we should. And for that, I thank the fellows. They're walking history books, which they've always, I think, been agreeable to. If you have a question, hey, what happened 10 years ago, or what's your memory of this? And I hope that continues, gentlemen. That it's a service to the community, and it's been appreciated. So that's my thoughts.
You gonna say something about this, or?
No, I had something else.
All right, we'll continue on this first. All right, then our package, the Central Pennsylvania Teachers Non-Collective Bargaining Group Participation Agreement. Nice.
That's being passed down as we speak, that's for signature.
That's that.
The red folder.
And then, we wanna do that this evening, or do you wanna deal with that on Tuesday?
Do they need that back soon, or can it?
I think next week would be
That's
fine.
fine.
I don't think there's any
Nothing
reason
wrong.
to, no, you just have to have it until the end of the year.
And then our packet also is, Albright is asking for $500, we gave that to them last year. Also,
So the concern there is we've contributed a number of years, was brought to my attention, we did not receive a letter this year. If we have received a letter, it did not make it into our board package, so we wanna make sure that we're continuing our relationship with Albright. And so when we bring it to your attention, we have asked them for an updated letter if they can provide us with one. So in the meantime, we just wanted to get it out there. That's what we had done last year. We wanna make sure we're on the right track to approve that.
and then our updated 2024 meeting schedule, I guess there'll be an update for Tuesday as well.
That will include the EAC that goes monthly as well. So that was not able to be included tonight. We fixed that, and that will be in the regular meeting.
We took care of 2 reorders too. There's 2 reorganizations that are not mentioned on them.
Okay.
One for RTMA and one for Gaza.
All right. I'll make sure I do it correctly as well.
And then also, in our packet is a letter from Senator Scott Martin regarding our concern on the 911
Yes,
services.
I have an update today on that. I happened to speak to Mark Gillen today. They're up there feverishly working late, trying to close everything out. But they have appropriated the money for the 911, and the appropriations they're making should put it back at about 90% versus the 70-some% it's been running at right now. So hopefully they get that concluded, and it will continue the payments through next year. So we don't have to be concerned about that.
Good. So, and then, now the next one, Rich, is that in everybody's packet?
I don't believe it got into everybody's package, so it's just yours for your discussion consideration.
All right, well then here is is a letter of commendation that was, regarding Sheila for the work she has done during our, township difficulties with some of the staffing and stuff, and I'll just read it. It was designed by Rich and reviewed by me, but we can give the copies to everybody who wants it. It says, Dear Sheila, this letter serves as an official letter of commendation resulting in your exceptional performance between July 1st of 2023 and October 31st of 2023. The Board of Supervisors is deeply appreciative of the additional duties you performed during the months of July and August when our township manager was unavailable in part, and again in September and October when our township manager was out of the office and prior to the hiring of an interim manager. Your performance of the township manager's duties and responsibilities reflects great credit upon you, the township administrative team, our township board of supervisors, and most importantly, the residents of Robeson Township. Based on your exceptional performance, this board, with the full endorsement of the undersigned, and as per the motion made at December 26, 2023 special meeting, grants you a raise of $1 per hour and a bonus of $2,500. We are truly blessed to have employees that take the initiative to support us and the integrity to ensure that our operations continue in challenging times. So that can be in everybody's packet if you want to email everybody for.
Can do.
And there's a reason why we all didn't get a copy of that before tonight?
Sure, I'll fix it.
Excuse me?
I'll fix it.
I mean, going forward, there's a problem in Township. And I've let everybody know that problem, that we don't all get the information that we should have, we don't get it contemporaneously. And I don't see an end in sight. You're new, I've taken that into, consideration, and we've had these discussions, but, you can't expect people to make decisions and, with this secrecy, there's no reason for that in today's email technology and with people being so close. So I trust you've noted my objection. We're going the wrong direction is what I'm saying.
Sure.
Okay?
All right, Chief.
Now, Chris, can
All
I,
right, we'll do it for one,
correspondence?
Yeah.
Yes.
all right, go ahead. Name and address, please.
Tracy Katarakis, 237 Bard Road. I would like to know, I sent it in on November 17th, my intent for the vacancy board. Mr. Kime got his letter on the agenda and in the packet. And mine, I had to send a second email to even get a response to know that it was received.
So, my understanding is that Mr. Kime should not have come before the board when received, but should have actually come before the board at the reorganization meeting. So that was done in error. It's not erroneous in the sense that it's fine that we received it. Yours has been received as noted, and we will make sure that it is with the reorg meeting when that arrives.
Well, now here's again the problem. Richard, here's the problem. Things come in, correspondence come in. In this case, Mr. Kimes gets to here and we know nothing about it. I just don't see any further reason for this. What did you do when you received her? And what we've asked for before, what we've agreed as a board, what's in the minutes, is that those who want to receive emails should get them. So what I'm asking to do is to have the office forward the emails so we know what's going on, and we don't. What happened when this came in, was November 17th, what happened to her correspondence?
It's been printed and it's actually with the reorganization packet right now, sir.
And we don't know anything about it. Is there anything, ma'am, on the website about, I haven't looked at the website in a few weeks. Is there anything on there about openings and stuff? As I recall, you sent a letter in last year. Well, one of the things this township desperately needs, in my opinion, is new people. That's not an offense to you, Mr. Kline. It's not an offense. But we need new people here, on these boards. And if we don't know about it, and if we, in a sense, discourage them or create a feeling where someone, maybe feels not as involved or, is eliminated from participation, that's not a good thing. So I'll make sure that will be on the reorganization meeting. Do we have other applicants, other people?
Those are the only two current, sir.
Is your term up, Mr. Katarakis, for zoning hearing board?
They say no, but I think it is.
He did receive a letter. However, we checked the court date, this is not due, so we will still.
Okay,
play with
regardless of any, I'd like to know what comes in, so there's 2 letters now, at a minimum, that we don't know about.
Alright, chief.
Hey, I'm sorry, but there are vacancies posted on the website for different, groups. So I'm almost sure that there's been one on there for the EAC for a while. There's a couple of them been on for the Park and Rec, so there are some out there.
And there's someone there that
Shouldn't be on.
should be on there.
Like,
The zoning hearing board, there's supposed to be 2 more alternates, but it should be 1 alternate and 3 zoning hearing people.
Alright, chief.
Good evening. First item I have back on the agenda from last month is, on Tuesday, I'll be asking the board to consider adopting resolution 2023-13 for disposal of certain police records. Why I did not ask the board to take action on that last month was in reviewing it at the meeting, I noticed there was an error where it didn't conform with the municipal records manual. Therefore, that needed to be corrected before, obviously, the board taking action on it. And obviously, too, it's up to the board if you would like the solicitor's office to review that prior to Tuesday, but I'll leave that up to the board for consideration. B is, as you're aware, via email, our 2021 Ford Interceptor has met a deer while on patrol. That is at the body shop. I have received 2 estimates, one with the cheaper of the 2, so it's at Creative Customs, and it's being repaired. From speaking with him yesterday, we're waiting on a headlight. They could not find a brand new headlight anywhere, and we had to get a used headlight from California. I guess parts is quite the challenge for the vehicles. So once that headlight comes in, we should have that back. The decal is there, that's been printed and is there waiting. So that's moving along. Under all items, I'll kind of piggyback with that.
where was that at, chief, the accident?
It was on 176, getting on the 176 from 724. It actually occurred in Kilburn.
Well, that explains it, it's 1 more deer than I've seen.
I'm just kind of curious whether the officers got more deer with vehicles than they did hunting.
Well, our officers did pretty good with hunting, except for one, and I won't single him out here tonight. But I prefer they not hit with our police cars. And then, like I said, piggybacking off that, I advised the board via email, or actually, I think I sent a text out last Friday when I was informed. Our new Tahoe at 32,000 miles went down with a mechanical failure. They took it, actually Excel Automotive opened up their shop at like 7:30 at night, 7 o'clock at night to take a look at it and said, do not drive it, have it towed. Creative Customs came out on Saturday, towed it down to Miracle Chevrolet in Morgantown. And Creative Customs, I reached out to him yesterday, he is not billing us for that tow. So I always like to mention that to the board so you're aware. And it needs lifters. They said it's a known issue with the 5.3 liter motors. They're covering it, but there's also a possibility, I guess, once they get deeper into it, to replace the lifters, that it might need a cam. If it does not need a cam, they think we'll have it back Monday and in service. So I just wanted to provide you an update.
Some of those, the GM keeps changing their warranty thing. So is that a 336 or is that a 70,000 mile one?
Yeah, so some parts on GM is 336, but the powertrain is the 70,000.
So 70,000, so
Yeah.
we should be fine on that.
That's what, that's what. I also heard that there's been transmission issues. So I know speaking with the chief of Morgantown, he called me to see why our police vehicle's been here so long. He said there's been a lot of Tahoes there. So he obviously, they don't know what being worked on, but there's been a lot of police Tahoes there. A couple other things under other. I did advise the board that we had was actually a resident dump a mattress at a recycling. That resident, the citation has been written, it has not been filed yet, so it's not public information. But that, he did come and get the mattress and took it out of here, so we didn't have the expense of discarding it. Furniture, I'm still waiting for a delivery date. I'm only pushing so hard with that because of the arrangement, but I did reach out twice this week, so I am pushing. Mr. Biller had brought up some concerns last meeting about park, you know, as far as some activity and dogs. The officers have stepped up patrols. I even went in and visited the porta potty to see if there's any signs of illicit drug use. And we also, since the last meeting, have warned 4 people about dogs.
At the park, chief.
At the park, and one was on the sewer property down here. So 3 at the park, 1 at the sewer property. So we found 3 different people with dogs. They were all, with the exception of the one that was down here at the sewer property, they all have been very nice, you know, and understood why we were
Do
asking.
they have any explanation as to when the properties clearly posted no dogs, why they would do that?
People don't read signs, you know, and that's what it comes down to sometimes.
So people don't follow ordinances either. That was part of my point with, and I think we're gonna get into that at some point.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep, so, also I want to let the board know, last night, Officer Zebra participated with a shot with a cop. There was a Robeson elementary student that was involved with that. He, along with 24 other officers, participated in that. So I just wanted the board to be aware of that. And that's all I have this evening.
You brought up parking, just reminded me of something else. I don't know if you guys are aware that the electric company was up there at the park today doing work, and they dropped the lines. And I had great concern with that, because they should have notified us, so that we should have closed the park while those activities were going on. So I don't know who we should get a hold of to preclude that from happening again. The other thing is, I wanted to mention, we've had a couple of lost hunters over the last couple of weeks. One was in Robeson Township, and he was, I guess, found by people killed. Another one was in Union Township, I guess out by the park. And Barry Redinger, our public works guy, participated in the tracking down of the guy with his dog. And in the process, he lost his GPS tracker for the dog. So I did contact Union Township, and they are supposed to be cutting a check for partial payment of that tracker. So I just want to let everybody know that not only do we have an employee out there doing some extra things, but we also have municipalities willing to step up.
and what was he looking for?
Lost hunter.
Lost
Hunters. I was hunting, you know what? His cell phone battery went dead and he couldn't find his way back.
And despite being told to stay where he was at, kept on moving.
So I'll piggyback off that, with discussion with Supervisor Steve, I reached out to French Creek State Park, specifically the assistant manager, and I verbally requested to see if they would match what Union Township, which was basically just under half of what the unit cost. From what I understand, Union Township is $200, and I believe the tracker is right around $450, $449 maybe. And I reached out to them and I received a negative on the return. So just let the board aware of that, they shot us down on that.
Yeah, my feelings are, you know, you have a guy who's out there trying to do a community service, he should come up on the short end of this. It's not like he's asking to pay for his dog food or something like that, but, you know, he shouldn't come up on the short end.
Were the hunters both older?
Actually, my understanding was he was in his 50s, so he wasn't an old guy. I guess in some people's minds he might be, but that guy wouldn't be considered an old guy.
Anything else, Chief?
And that was all.
Alright, then our packet of the finance, and the monthly expenses for our review, the treasurer's report, sewer agent reports. And then for Tuesday, we're going to approve the 2024 budget. Fire companies, Chief Cooley, you have anything to update today, or is that for Tuesday?
I can just add in the update, the accident on 176, the trooper was able to obtain insurance information for the Unit 1 striking vehicle. They did have valid insurance, so that has been turned over to our insurance company. The truck was, I think I mentioned last month, maybe I did, the truck was temporarily repaired to be able to put back in service. We're looking at January or early February till they get everything together, and probably out of service for 2 to 3 weeks at that point. But so that is being handled. We did receive partial payment of the estimate that we're just gonna sit on, obviously, until we go, fireline the full amount, but, they will be recollecting our $500 deductible and crediting that, so fortunately there was valid insurance on that vehicle. The only other thing I have is December 17th, Sunday, our annual take Santa Claus around our half of the township. I reach out to Chief Castle, invited them to put an officer in, I think it looks good that, they're part of it, so. That's obviously weather dependent, looks like Sunday might be a little wet, so, if it's too wet, Santa might not arrive, and we'll play it by ear. That's all I have.
What time does that start?
4 o'clock, we start at Buck Hollow and Overlook, and then there's a predetermined path from there.
And I have, we already have 2 cars scheduled to be working during that time, so, I advise the power car, the second car, that he may participate, but he has obviously responsibility to the township calls. So he has to break free, he has to break free.
You could post it on the website if you did decide to scratch it.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, we'll post it, I'll let Chief know so he can keep his guy free.
I'm gonna be standing at the end of the driveway for waiting for me.
You're on the wrong side of township.
Alright, anything else?
Thank you.
Alright, and then in our packet, we have minute dispenses reports, any,
I'll make a comment, Mr. Chairman, on the November 9th minutes preliminarily. Okay, there's a reference in there on page 3 of those minutes, and there's a reference to, I guess you authored these, Mr. Steve, did you not?
Absolutely, I sent you a copy there
Okay.
for your comments.
I take exception to the word diatribe, as well as your characterization as to what happened at that meeting. I don't think it's the purpose of the minutes to cast, opinions of yours or anybody else's. We've struggled to even have basic minutes at these meetings, and I take exception to that, and I'm on section, page 3 of 4, the November 9th minutes, where I seem to be quoted at length because I'm not pleased with this ordinance. Now, we can get into that now, or we can get into it Tuesday, whatever the board likes. I indicated I would make some comparisons. I think you asked for that, Mr. Smith. We can get that now, or we can get into it later, whatever you
well,
like.
it'd be later, because
No,
this is just to
but
discuss.
before we go on to the next thing, I'd like to address the minutes. The minutes are sent out as soon as they're published for comments. If you return a comment to me, it will be corrected before we get to this meeting, so that we can just move on and have them corrected, as opposed to now giving a 1-day window for that to happen.
It's not.
I am not paid for preparing these minutes. It is not my sole job.
And that's not an excuse for casting the type of overshadow that you have on these minutes. If you
Well,
don't
it's-
wanna do it, get to this board and get somebody to do it, and
it's-
maybe do it properly. It's not my job, Mr. Steve, to go over the minutes and insert things, and it's your job, or whoever's doing it, to get it right the first time.
No, it's everybody sitting up here's job to provide corrections to the minutes as necessary. Everybody's job. And you should be having gumption, instead of sitting here tying up the meeting time, to send a frickin' email back saying, hey, I want this corrected, or I think this should be saying something different. Because at the end of the day, come Tuesday, everybody's gonna vote on those minutes as they're written and agree with them, or not.
Or not, as the case may be. So we don't need all the emails, secret emails going back and forth and comment outside of the public. What we need is the job done right at the township. And it's not. The minutes are just one issue. You heard other issues a few minutes ago. So it's worse than just commenting on what you don't like about the minutes, Mr. Steve. It's worse than that.
So what would you want corrected in that section?
Well, what does diatribe mean, Mr. Steve, to you?
And it's basically a ranting on.
Well, that sounds like a personal attack on me.
On a negative.
Okay,
issue.
that sounds like a personal attack on me.
Well, no,
No, a diatribe
it.
sounds like a personal attack on me, and I resent that.
It's not, it's a description of the way you presented yourself.
And that's what a minute taker does. He takes descriptions of
Well,
what
the
he
minutes-
perceives somebody as. What I said is this ordinance here is not ready for prime time, is not what this township needs, and I feel it was thrust upon us. I don't know why you were working with our township manager. The board didn't seem to be informed on it.
Well, then,
I don't seem.
then you weren't paying attention,
Oh,
because the
okay.
board authorized me to do that.
Okay, well, it's possible with this gargantuan level of ordinance that we have, it's possible that you missed stuff, but I am prepared to get into it right now. If that's what we wanna do, let's do it right now,
No,
Mr.
we're-
Chairman.
This is minutes, expenses,
Well,
reports.
but in the minutes, it's talking about my
But
so-called diatribe.
Well, then we're doing that minute part, we're not discussing ordinances in general.
Well,
I mean,
that's
we
what
can do that.
the so-called diatribe was about. It was about tannerite, and it was about all the different stuff. This is tannerite. This is tannerite, folks. That's what that is. And that was what the complaint was.
Well, the question is, how do you want that corrected? That's what the point is. The
Well,
minutes are-
I don't know that it can be corrected, at least tonight. I mean, I'm gonna have to give it some more thought. You can't redo something when somebody wants to characterize that. I don't recall referring to the Cataraxes as constant complainers. I don't recall using that word. You do have a lot of complaints, folks, but by the way, on this township ordinance, if I understood, Bernie, if I understood your complaint on the dog barking, it's already covered in our ordinance. If it barks more than 30 minutes, it's a problem. Now, if the police didn't do their job or our code enforcement do their job, I don't know, but more ordinances are not gonna help that. So I don't know. Don't get mad at me, and I don't feel that you have a lot of complaints. I encourage the fact that you come out here at these meetings. Sometimes we will agree, sometimes we will disagree.
Correct.
But if you didn't get the service, well, I guess welcome to the club. I've often said, if you're somehow connected here at the township and then you're selected, sometimes things go a different way. That's what I'm seeing, and I don't like it. Now, do we want to talk about the Chinese lanterns? I'm amazed at the Chinese lanterns. These are Chinese lanterns. Here's one that set, here Chief, here's one that set, this one I know for a fact that a nearby municipality set a tree on fire. I want to thank my staff at my office for blowing these things up. I don't know if you guys ever seen this.
I have, yes.
Okay, I really haven't had a lot of experience with these.
They're not good.
But, I mean, the warning labels are right on here. Okay, so I don't know what we think we'll accomplish in our ordinances, but when you set fire to something, set it up in the air, and you don't know where it's gonna land, that's a problem.
Well, we can discuss the ordinance, let's do the minute part, so you wanna have more time to
Well,
ponder.
I don't know what the rush is, I commend Mr. Steve for making an effort at it, but unfortunately, this is going to the worst, worst extreme that it is. We got minutes, at midnight.
So we can, we're still, these little reports and stuff for review for Tuesday, including the minutes.
You see these things? The fire department can't like this.
Alright, Ryan. Good evening, board, I had sent my report out to you, we have two 90-day time extensions that will be before you at the regular meeting. The first of which is for Cedar Hill Estates, the second one is for the Deeds Homestead Subdivision 2. Item C is a plan that was, contains a waiver which was recommended to you, as well as a final plan approval, and it's here before you this evening. This is for essentially a land exchange on Green Hills Road. The review letter was contained in my report. The planning commission has recommended to the board that they approve a waiver to allow a plan scale of 1 inch equals 40 feet, as opposed to the 1 inch equals 50 feet, as is required by section 303B of the Saldo. And also, they recommended final plan approval for this plan. So it's up to you, gentlemen, if you'd like to take action on that this evening, or if you want to do it Tuesday night. Any preference, or you wanna wait till Tuesday?
I'm fine with doing it now, but I'm not gonna speak for everyone else.
If you wanna make a motion, go ahead.
Well, before we make the motion, Engineer Rowe,
Yes, sir.
the Cedar Hill Estates subdivision, when was that initially, how long has that been here?
It's been here for quite a while. It's in my PC minutes when the original review was done of that Supervisor Bittler. I'm gonna guess, and this may be late, but I think it was 2018. Might have even been before that. This was discussed by your planning commission at their meeting as far as the status of this plan, and I did inquire with them It was approximately a year ago that we brought the applicant and their engineer in to give an update on that. I asked the planning commission if they would like that again, and they didn't feel there was a need for it, so.
Meaning it's not progressed, or it is progressing?
No, my understanding is at this point, they are involved in a redesign, with respect to their borough side of this project, as well as discussions with wetland banks associated with wetland mitigation, and I do know firsthand those discussions take some time. I haven't spoken directly with this engineer for the last month or two, but I do know that item in particular can take years.
In years to come, folks, you're gonna see what happens when subdivisions sit around too long. You're gonna see the cost of that.
And again, if the board would like to bring them in, as we've done once before, I can certainly request that as well.
You said about the cost associated with that, Tim. What cost are you talking about?
I'm talking about subdivisions that are left to lay around instead of following policies and procedures that I understood were in place at one time at the township. They're left linger for years. In one case, it was 20-some years. Now we're forced into doing some things that I don't think are overly beneficial.
I can say this, that they do pay all the bills every time that we do something, we as a municipality does something for them, as well as,
You're
the
talking
sewer
about
bill.
Cedar Hills? You're talking about Cedar Hills State?
I am.
Right, I'm making a reference to other subdivisions that we seem to terminate some willy-nilly. If you're selected and connected, things go one way for you. If you're not, you're not. Now this township's gonna pay that price in the next 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
If I can make a motion,
Now, I was making a motion, what is the exact waiver?
The exact waiver is a waiver to permit a plan scale of 1 inch equals 40 feet. That waiver would be from section 303B of the subdivision land development.
Okay, I'll make the motion that we grant that waiver.
I'll second. Roll call, Mr. Steve.
Yes.
Mr. Brown.
I will vote yes.
Mr. Bitler.
Yes.
Mr. Rhodes.
Yes.
I'll vote yes.
Then I'll also make a motion that we approve the plan.
I'll second the motion.
Roll call, Mr. Steve.
Yes.
Mr. Brown.
Yes.
Mr. Bitler.
Yes.
Mr. Rhodes.
Yes.
And I'll vote yes. Thank you, board. I know the applicant will be pleased with that. Those plans are here this evening for signature, so please sign them and get them to Rich, and we'll notify the applicant. Item D under my agenda, the Gunhart Road culvert. We have received the permit from DEP. A copy of that cover letter was contained in my report. I will be sure to get all the appropriate plans to the road crew. And finally, the final page of my report is a tentative schedule for the bridge design of Rock Hollow Road. That came from Whitman Engineers and Consultants. I did speak with Bill Whitman today, and the survey has been completed. They are in the process of drafting that and starting their waterway analysis. He does continue to plan to be before you with preliminary bridge plans in January. So I will keep you updated and the agenda updated with that as well. That's all I have unless you have questions of me.
Yeah, I saw actually a schedule he put out of projections on, the whole project.
Yeah, that was,
And we're driving across it in August.
that's,
I thought that was rather bold.
I thought it was a bit aggressive and I let Bill know that, but,
I mean, I just,
we can discuss that with him if he's here by January. Absolutely. I think DEP permitting might,
I agree with you. I don't think it's gonna be quite as smooth, but I'm hopeful.
Alright, nothing else? So, we have legal, Chris.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would just like to report, Mr. Orway has executed his termination agreement, so that could be presented to the board as early as tomorrow, so that should be added to the agenda for the next week for the board to consider that.
That's the extent of your report?
Well, that, and then I want to report on Coleman v. Parkland School District. That's a Commonwealth Court decision from last month regarding interpretation of the Sunshine Act as far as the notice that has to be provided of meetings in advance and the official action that the board can take. So they interpreted the Sunshine Act, and as far as the official action that can be taken, it can only be on agenda items with limited exceptions, such as one, when there's a real or potential emergency or clear and present danger to life or property. If no notice was provided, it wasn't on the agenda, the board could still take official action to address an item like that. Business arising within 24 hours before a meeting, official action can be taken if it arose within that 24-hour period and it matters de minimis and doesn't involve expenditure of funds. The board would be afforded the opportunity to take official action on that. And then the third exception is where business arises during a meeting, if a resident or taxpayer brings up a matter, the board could take official action if it doesn't involve expenditure of funds, again, or entry into a contract, something like that. The board could consider that. Those are the only three exceptions to items that must be on the agenda at least 24 hours in advance. Otherwise, I would just say push it to the next meeting if something comes up, to be on the safe side.
Can you give a citation to that?
I'll have to find it. It's
Or email me?
yeah, I can email to you, sure.
One of the problems I have, and maybe you can pass this on to Solicitor Orlando, is I've never seen that termination agreement. I've never seen it in its final form, and we want to talk about that. We want to talk about that.
Okay,
Anything else?
that's all. Thank you.
Larry Ritchie, Public Works.
All right, the only thing I have to add is, Barry could not be here. I just want to let everyone know that Rocco Road is going to be closed from Quarry to 724. Dr. Quarry has agreed to rework that intersection for us. We know that it takes a lot of damage based on the weight of those quarry trucks that are coming across that area. They're going to fix that for us, and then we're going to continue a relationship working with them to look at that from time to time to make sure it maintains stability. Again, as they hit that corner there, they tend to pivot steer, and that's causing a lot of damage to that corner. So, again, we really appreciate the fact that they're doing that. And that's going to be from 6 a.m. the 16th, which is Saturday, to approximately 4 p.m. is what we expect the road to be. If we can get that done.
See, this is 16th.
Yes, sir. Saturday the 16th. Let least busy traffic times to try to get that.
You get it.
And they're not operational.
Yes.
Yeah, and Chief's already tried.
Parks and Rec.
The only note here, as we picked up earlier on in correspondence, the Parks and Rec is now requested to meet monthly. We'll make sure for the EAC we include that as well for the meeting on the 19th. The only thing I also want to briefly talk about here is I have asked them to create a priorities list for us. They had a substantial list of projects they wanted to complete, and unfortunately without a priority list and developing that, it's going to make it hard for you as a board to make decisions on what to execute and when.
That project list, they produced that or prepared that one?
They started to work on that at their last meeting, so I've asked them to.
That meeting was when?
That was the last one. I don't have the date off the top of my head.
And there's something.
November 27th.
There's something in writing that they had at that meeting, they have minutes?
They have not, it's draft minutes at this point.
Under Park and Rec, if I may,
Yes, sir.
there is a tree located paralleling the first base line. It's a hickory nut tree. It has two broken limbs in the top. They're hanging up there, just waiting to fall. They may hit the dugout, they may hit somebody else. It's a problem. And I would like to make a motion that we authorize the manager to have a tree service people come out and make that situation safe and do any preventive trimming to that tree while they're up there.
Does that fit the three criteria?
Is it a threat to life or property?
Well, if the limb falls and hits somebody, it could be.
I'd say arguably yes.
So you're gonna argue against?
So now, do we have to amend it?
As may arise, plus you said if it's life and death, and you're right,
Okay.
if the branch is falling on somebody, right?
Yeah, you would actually add it to this agenda as well as, you know, take official action to the extent you can deem it threat to life or property, but I think it would qualify based on how it was described.
I can wait till Tuesday.
I mean, I don't care if you wanna let it go till Tuesday.
I
It's
mean, in the
been hanging
meantime,
up
we can
there.
call Spar and get him to look at it. He does,
Shit,
he does.
call Dave Spar and tell him to take care of it. Would be my motion, period.
Well, he still made a motion, so are we gonna just let it die, or are we gonna say?
Second it,
Did I hear a second?
yeah. I just don't like setting a precedent because I'm gonna try and hold this board accountable to Sunshine Act. going
Well, no, that's
forward.
why I asked him about if this
Well,
would fit the
let's get it done.
criteria.
It's a tree. I'll second the motion. Let's get it done.
Roll call, Mr. Steve,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Bittler,
Yes.
Mr. Rhodes.
Yes.
And I vote yes.
I'm surprised nobody else saw it tonight.
Anything else, Rich, for Parks and Rec?
No, sir.
Any other new business? Rich, any other new business? Now you wanna talk about ordinances under old business?
Anything you want to do?
Do you have anything,
Well, you've asked me to
well, like,
make some,
well, if you have, you
Issues.
know, if there's one or two, let's,
well, no, it's gonna take more than one or two. I mean, this is a whole read here. Was this put on our website, Richard?
Which one's that, sir?
This is the, we'll call it Harold Steve, proposal, ordinance.
No.
No, sir, it would not,
Alright, well-
it's not approved.
Well, just because there's no hardship in putting something out that's now getting discussed, and apparently somebody's going on a diatribe. There's no harm in putting something on a website to let the people know, but yeah, the first issue has to do with dogs. I mean, I asked my colleagues, other than Mr. Steve, my other three, what do you guys think about this?
Well, I made comments last time.
You can go first, what do you think?
well, now, my notes are not here, because we talked about it last time, and we discussed it last time, and I had my 5, maybe 3 or 4, which is probably.
And you like this?
No, it was some of the, was this the
Okay.
the nuisance one?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was
I mean,
some
so
concerns.
a nuisance is anything that causes an inconvenience. Really? As I told you, as I said before, this essentially turns the township into a homeowners association. The first thing we need to do is to take a look at this ordinance right here, figure out which sections apply. We have a burning ordinance. Our police said they didn't want to be overly involved from that. Some of the fines that we have in our existing ordinance are $300, now they're criminal and $1,000.
Now, Rich and I had discussed some of these things about the ordinances, you wanna summarize, Rich, what we had discussed about how the plan, we're gonna,
We're working towards a plan, how we're going to review our current ordinances. That's going to take some time for us to put together. However, the idea would be we either, do these on a cyclic basis, say the first, chapters 1 through 5 in year number 1. Year number 2 would be chapters, 6 through 10 and so on. The other way to do that would be to divide the ordinances up amongst our supervisors and interested parties to have them review those, and then to get back together, say on a quarterly basis to review and then to update, and obviously they go through the solicitor then to ensure we're going
Now, Richard, when did this discussion occur with our chairman on the ordinance process? When did this
well, first off, we discussed at the last meeting that we
Right,
should have a plan.
Right, well,
And we
here's
should
my
all-
point.
Well, now, the plan would be to be organized, and you have an ordinance you don't like, you pick the 4 things or whatever you don't like, and you think it's cross-referenced with another ordinance, if it's in there, which one's better, which one's not, and we do it. So we're organized versus bringing a pile of 200 pages and then pointing 2 or 3 things out, and then nothing's, we gotta do maybe 2 at a time, that's the most important ones, and then do 3 at a time, whatever. We can't throw that one, do the dog one, do the burn one, and
Well,
and
I've
haphazard.
asked to do the burn one 6 months ago,
and-
and I said I looked at Exeter Township,
And when we did
and
the
it gets
burn
dropped.
one-
The reason it gets dropped, Mr. Chairman, is because everything here is,
The burn
no new
one-
business, no old business, as may arise,
The
as
burn
may
one, If you
arise.
recall, when we were talking about it, since that was like a 3-page thing, I had actually said, well, why don't we fix it now? And your response was you wanna ponder and consider it longer, and then didn't happen.
Just drop it.
So that's why we gotta pick 2 or 3 that we don't like the most, or do what he says, you pick 4, you pick 5, whichever. But if we keep talking about the burning ordinance, we keep talking about the dog ordinance, we keep talking about the nuisance ordinance, why don't we do those 3? And that can be,
So this is an entirely whole new nuisance ordinance, and what I'm doing is I'm showing, this is our rules, this is our ordinance. I don't bring this here to say, oh, look at every section, but look at the mess that we've had. Now, here's my proposal. I wasn't asked on that. Here's my proposal. We know which ones continue to be historically the most problematic. And if we all got emails, and if we all had a level of communication that I've been talking about for 2 years, if somebody complains, rather than the manager be a gatekeeper, or perhaps the police or somebody else, if somebody complains, let's focus on the ones that are the main
which is
problems.
exactly what I just said.
Well,
Like
no,
the
not-
burn ordinance, the nuisance ordinance, the dog ordinance.
That's not what you just said. What you just said is we're gonna take the first 5
No,
chapters
I
and go
said,
through it,
he
wah,
said
wah,
there's
wah.
potential, that's a potential way to do it. But I'm saying if there's the full, that's what I just said, if there's 3 or 4 that are
So
the big
among the board
problems.
members, let's talk about the burn ordinance. What I said last about the burn ordinance is there needs to be an agricultural exemption, not just for farmers like me, but farmers around the township. We need to not have a knee-jerk reaction when there's a drought. It's not feasible under the burn ordinance to say something can't smolder after dark. It's just not feasible. Now, when you say about burn ordinances, Mr. Steve and I ran into each other at Turkey Hill recently, I think, and there was discussions of people bringing things into the township and creating other stuff. That's already covered in our ordinance. So,
However,
I mean,
however,
it's not
if I'm
enforced.
bringing things in and I'm getting paid $4,000 or $5,000 a load to bring them in, a $300 fine is awful damn cheap.
Absolutely, and then there's successive fines that can happen, there's other violations with zoning, if we're operating in businesses. So we need to start at the basics, not take 5 chapters, let's take what complaints we have.
Which would be the burn ordinance, the nuisance ordinance. the
Well, I don't know
nuisance
who
ordinance.
complained about the burn ordinance. I don't know
Well, that-
I don't know
well,
who complained about
was
that, it
brought
might
up-
need
well, that-
tweaking.
Well, that was brought up during one of the droughts that we,
Well,
Well, what was brought up was the chief doesn't wanna be essentially involved in a whole lot of the enforcement of that.
the burn ordinance wouldn't be a priority now since.
Well,
Never,
the
but
problem
still,
is,
but
the
the
problem
nuisance
is,
is
respectfully, Chris, the problem is when it's not a problem now, it never gets done.
Well, that's my point, so which are the ones we wanna deal with first? That's what I said last month.
I could be wrong about this, but you guys were called to Plow Road and Morgantown Road for unattended fire at a business where they were burning debris that they hauled in from somewhere else. The houses were all full of smoke. And, you know, so
Who was called now?
In 24
fire
hours.
company,
Pardon me?
the fire company.
Okay, so, was
And,
that
you know,
true?
so, Tim, one of our jobs here is to protect the health and safety of the public. How are we doing that if we just leave that go?
Well, we don't have to leave it go, and we don't need your ordinance, Mr. Steve, to do that. That can be done now.
A $300 fine.
Start finding the guy. Are you aware of this,
The
Chief?
police cited him.
Okay, and has he done it since? Do you know?
Uh,
Every time you do that, it's another fine.
he has done it since, but not, he did it before he received a citation in the mail.
Well, I don't know that matters, but let's stay on him and let's get the situation straightened out. I'm
But-
sure there's other violations.
But you know,
Have we
Tim,
referred that to our code people?
but you know, think about it.
It has been.
It has been, and what's,
He just received it today.
okay.
But that,
And I would have really liked to seen a copy of that.
the $300 fine is inconsequential. It cost us more than that to bring the fire company out.
What's your email address, by the way? Because I'm looking at your email address. What email address was you want everybody to send it
We have a Gmail.
to? Yeah, well, is it the?
What's my address?
BitlerSupervisor@gmail.com.
So, it's like the last correspondence from Solicitor Orlando about Rich's agreement, you did receive that, because it's BitlerSupervisor@gmail.com.
What was the date of that?
Should've been on the 11th.
What was the date of that?
Monday at 4:39 PM. And you're-
When our solicitor asks us, we hire another solicitor. We don't know where the money goes, folks. We hire another solicitor, labor counsel, who asks for a response. We'll wait for that response. we draft an agreement, we revise an agreement, I've never wavered on that. We take a poll as an email, and then supervisors respond individually outside of the public. We'll talk about the sunshine law, we'll talk about that.
You know, the whole process only works if we in fact communicate via the email back and forth. So even if you're revising these ordinances, which the one you're making comment about was all emailed to everyone, and I believe I only received any comments back from 2 people. So
And then-
if you're gonna revise them, you have to participate.
So which ordinances would you like to be priority? Then we start,
Tuesday, let's talk about that Tuesday.
you're gonna have the ones you wanna be priority for Tuesday? the two or
I'm
three?
not sure yet when you say about which one's priority. We talked about the burn ordinance, and I've suggested that there were a few issues that should be tweaked. I've heard nothing from you fellows. What is your position on the burn?
I have to have it in front of me because. that
Okay,
was
well then
just-
let's get it in front of us
We discussed
Tuesday.
it the last time.
Let's get the burn ordinance in front of us Tuesday. Does that sound fair, Mr. Rhodes?
I'm fine with it.
Yeah, since we talked about it before and came and made any comments and simple. Alright, so I know you do a burn ordinance, alright, Rich, you'll add that to the.
Yes, sir.
Alright, so go to the order or executive session, you wanna go in executive session?
Yes.
Alright, we're going executive session at 7:15.
I'm gonna stay.
Yeah.
How you doing? Pretty good. The boy tells me he lost one. Why don't you go find one? And I know how it works.
Alright.
Wrong time of the year for that.
Oh, baby.
Yes.
That's the only thing
I told you before, you're
Correct.
you're in
Yeah.
charge of this, everything else will
I think there's a.
I'm sorry, I told you.
Here for me, too, somewhere. Right here.
I don't recognize you, sir.
Nope, this is me.
I don't recognize you.
Township should.
Yep, and you guys will be.
I
only said you were late because these guys get stuck.
I wasn't.
Yeah, you did the paperwork for it.
All I did was some.
Oh.
How you doing? How's your wife, all right? What? How's your wife? Better? She's doing better, but not, I wish it were faster better.
You just have to have patience.
You know, we went to the family doctor today and we go back to the surgeon on the 28th. And they did another CAT scan, so
Did a nice job on your lights.
what I'm working on.
They look pretty good.
Look in the daytime up in that big tree, I put about 58-inch glass balls on.
My wife thinks you bring somebody in and decorate your yard.
I do it myself.
What time do they come on, Tom?
5 to midnight.
Depends on what time it gets dark. Mine are by dusk to dawn.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
I hand carried mine. Cause remember the problem that they had?
Yeah.
So I hand carried it.
How much does it take you to say I received your email? 2 seconds.
I don't know.
My lights come on sometime during the day when it's cloudy. I only have them in our screened in porch.
I light up half the hill.
We used to put a lot out when we lived in Gottersville.
I have 120 strings out and I have 40 I'm working on. So I don't know if I'll get them done or not.
Yeah, we used to put a lot out, but
Yeah,
it's just.
But I put that big tree in my field, if you look close, there's 8-inch balls hanging on. Look, I go past in the daytime. Hey, we having fun yet?
Loving every second of life.
Tell your boss I said hi.
I will. He came to me, Tuesday, and he was fishing for work. He said, "Are you busy?" I said, "Yeah, I'm pretty busy." He goes, "Well, I think I'm done for the end of the year." And I said, "Does that mean you wanna be done, or you'd like to stick around a little bit?" He goes, "Well, if you have some stuff, So I had him look at a few things for Robeson, a few other things. And he came to me then yesterday morning and he said, "Well, I'm going for the year." I helped you out one day, now you're done.
They asked the EAC to do a report on the Jacqueline,
Okay, yeah.
I spent 3 hours on that and had an inch over on it. The people asked
No, I'm not gonna touch it, I just wanna look
I
at it.
mean, I went back.
Said shake it and shoot it.
3 proposals to the Pennsylvania.
It's fine, and when you only set off that much,
Pennsylvania
it's
Senate.
less noise than like a 30 outside spot. It's hardly any noise when you only set that much
I
off.
have one that documented. The
Shakes the windows.
Do not want to see any of them fly.
Yeah,
I have all that shit documented.
Our neighbor who,
nobody
because
is.
we live right at the edge of the township, so he's in front country.
Drop it off in Rich's office.
I'll drop it off to Rich tomorrow and say, here's what they did ask for.
Oh, Ronnie's at it again.
This exploded.
We are the noisy patrol.
Yes,
I thought we voted it in order.
they did.
So how do they resurrect itself?
This was the first I heard of it tonight.
Yes, Mr.
Yeah, so I don't know, Tom,
I'm just wondering, I was here,
yeah,
I said it was the worst idea I've heard since the
yeah,
dead animal company.
yeah.
Remember that one?
Was that last month or was that the month before?
Can I hear your jacket?
Because they're looking for a spot as That's
Okay. We put the fishing pole out and look what they caught.
Yep, yeah.
Okay. You think it's more weird, you wanna see what they're doing in Exeter?
Oh, I don't go to Exeter or Coomer, I don't. Townships of the first class, or the larger townships, I stay away. It only gets nuttier.
A friend of mine lives in Flying Hills, they said they're emptying the pond. Really? It's completely empty, they got dredgers in there pulling out dirt.
Hanging a bigger,
Making, I don't know what they're doing.
getting ready for warehouse.
Getting ready for that warehouse.
Yeah.
I went to at least 7 meetings of the planning commission from Township.
Yep.
So there's no reason to ever put that. That is the worst location you could possibly think of. And I tried to get these guys involved because Green Hills exit is in Robeson Township. Most of that whole area is Robeson Township. We're gonna end up, they're gonna need a 24-hour policeman.
Yep, yep.
Otherwise,
Well, you see,
there's gonna be a 55-foot trailer stuck in the Turkey Hill.
You see how many accidents we have there now?
Well, how about, what about the end of Rehabilitation Hill?
Oh, yeah. Wait till the first ice storm.
That place is gonna,
Yep, I know.
we were at the meeting, right? And they're talking about how good this is gonna be for 1,500 jobs and it's gonna be this and that and terrific. And somebody said, well, how are these trucks gonna get out? He said, oh, well, they could go down 724 and get 176. They could, and then they could even come down the Lancaster Avenue. And everybody started to mow.
Yeah.
You can't get through.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
It's just fun to
traffic
see.
jam.
I
Oh,
just-
the smell, I will tell you, we know the amount of
And it runs through
adult
Scottsburg.
Yeah.
and actually
Yeah,
older
you
people,
better
like,
believe
oh,
it.
they come running, they're at the windows, and like, they swear to like traveling around it, like the 70, 80-year-old crews, they look at more the kids, they look at
Even Robeson, when they break down from the fire
Yeah.
company, and you know, we used to go out.
What the hell is that?
Good, how are you?
They took Jersey 35 years ago, everybody started picking up
We're
after all that.
Well, you were there.
I was there the one time, there was a couple after that, but I was at work or
I'll see you
whatever.
I had her to the
I'll be here Tuesday.
hospital,
Okay.
on emergency, that I took her
We'll see you guys.
6
See you.
times.
I'm gonna try to get by tomorrow night to see your lights.
Okay, well, yeah, I'm still putting them up, so they're not all finished.
I picked my daughter up from work right around, I picked her up tonight, so I come through there at about 8:45, I'm like, keep them more up.
Well, I got a lot that are broken, and I'm still working on
Do you have electric all the way out there, or do you run from your house all the way out?
it. No, I ran from the barn.
Okay,
Yeah, but, yeah,
it's a run.
I have 300-foot 12-gauge cables.
Okay,
And I have at least 4, 5, 50-foot.
Right.
And then I have 50-foot, 16.
right, just for the end runs, yeah.
Because they don't draw that.
Yeah, now if they're LED, they don't do anything.
But, yeah, the 100-footers I didn't use. But, how you doing? Yeah.
I woke up this morning, so I tell people.
That's always a plus.
Yeah. Oh, my, yeah. But, you know, my wife was just to her family doctor today and they changed a few things around.
Getting her straightened back out.
And we're going back to Musso, the surgeon,
Okay.
at the end of the month. But they did another CAT scan, so we'll see how that's going.
Good.
But, it's been 4 years.
Yeah.
Of me being chief cook, bottle washer.
Right, right. Christmas light hanger.
I know, that's why the vacancy board thing went,
Yeah, gotcha.
cause that was never on the agenda when I was manager for 8 years.
Right.
10 years.
You never need a hand, Jeff don't work, you come over. I'm only 20 seconds further, so
Yeah.
if he says no, I'll come over.
Well, what's up,
That's my
Tom?
job now.
What's
I get all the bad stuff that happens that, you know, like what I do now, I get all the bad stuff that happens in the hospitals. From the doctors when, you know, something goes wrong, I'm like, ain't no way in hell I'm going in the hospital for anything.
Yeah.
It was a hospitalist did a cardio version on a patient, I said, let me just tell you. Hospitalist walks in, do a cardio version on you, tell me, turn around, walk out that damn door, I want a cardiologist.
My right shoulder's toast.
Yeah, my neighbors, they're both their kids have, I can't remember the name of the condition, but they have to do treatments like every 3 days. It's not, I forget what it is, the son had spinal meningitis when he was a child, almost died, and from this point, he still has a speech impediment, he's not good. I forget what they have, they do like basically fluid, shit, like they do these treatments and they hit them. And they have to do them like every 2 or 3 days, and the daughter she's 21 at this point. So her mom does it for her, she gotta kind of stick her down here. So he called me last night, and he's like, are you around? What's up? He goes, can you come over, we have a medical issue at the house. So I like brought her through the woods, and she's sitting at the table, and she's just, nobody's home. She's pure white, and just nobody's home in the house, and she's like, so I'm like, what the hell? Like they didn't even, she was, I stuck her with the needle, and then she just kind of like went like this. I'm like, did we push it? She was like, no. I'm like, did anything change? Is it a new brand needle? Because I have a friend who has to do fluid treatments, and
Still doing what I can.
her insurance changed their provider, and she got a different needle. And there was, I don't remember what it was, but it was made with something she was allergic to, and she didn't know it. So when it touched her skin, she had a massive reaction to it immediately. So I'm like going through everything, and I'm like, they have blood pressure, I'm like, your pulse ox, what, she's 98, 99, I'm like, okay, blood pressure was a little elevated for her. And I'm like, diabetic? No, you have glucose monitor. No, we don't have one anymore. I'm like, talking to her, and she's just like, nobody's there. And I'm like, did you eat today?
So
like this.
the thing was her sugar low.
And I said, do you have cake icing? And I said specifically like that gel stuff, and she was like, I do have that gel stuff. And I'm like, get some. So she comes over, I said, just either go like this, put it up under her lip, or take your finger, I don't care how you do it, and put it up along her gum line. So she put a strip in there, she's like, I don't know if that's gonna work, and Allison's like, she's going,
I let him 2 truckloads.
and then within like a minute, I watched pink come back, and then she was like, I don't wanna do that again. Like,
By the bridge.
you might wanna get checked, I don't know why your blood sugar just bad, but she was ill like nobody home. Like you would ask her a question, she wouldn't even make eye contact. She'd go,
In that area.
Right down in the 20s.
I mean, it was bad.
cake icing and that gel stuff.
That's what we always tell people.
Because they
Get
actually
diabetics.
gave her some orange juice, which will help, but that
Best
level,
thing is milk.
no, really?
Yeah, because orange juice will bring your sugar up, but it'll make it drop.
It crashes after.
But milk will keep it,
Okay.
keep it
I
up.
didn't hear that.
And,
I know a little Snickers and cake icing or
But that
something.
icing, we always
That's
tell
like-
people,
that's
make
like-
sure you keep that in your
That's
house.
like
and
dark
your
hand.
granddad.
I mean,
Exactly.
within a minute, they're like,
You can't bring us back in the 15.
Right, so I get the time.
I give you a time, it's 2013.
All right, we'll be back in the regular session at 8:13.
this is time, the eat on that turkey. I don't believe he accepts some time.
You wanna make a motion to add that to the agenda on Tuesday?
The manager's section.
I don't think we have to make a motion to add a supplemental agenda for the future, we just add it to the agenda.
So that's the, and then for Tuesday,
Yeah, you could add.
so we don't have to make a motion, just tell them to add for Tuesday.
Yeah.
If you could get everybody the manager job description and.
So what we're gonna do is we'll move the actual ordinance.
well,
The
job
big thick
description
document, the big thick document that he pointed to?
So add that to the agenda. Everybody want to make a motion to adjourn at 8:14.
I'll second it then.
All in favor?
Richard, one of the comments that I said about with respect to the managers, it's not a personal thing. I wanna remove part of what the manager does and prior managers have done. I wanna remove that. If my colleagues agree, they do. If they don't, they don't.
You gave us
It's not personal.
Yeah.
You came right out the next day.
Did we adjourn?
Yeah, we did.
You said yes.
I didn't hear you say, okay, sure.
You're all in favor of the
Okay.
side?
I did.
I heard you.
How you been? Yeah. Standing well, man, huh? You,
Have a good night, everyone.
Don't forget to sign these plans before you leave.
How you doing?